Guys and girls, building a house on a block of land. Thought about it, dreamt about it, good idea, bad idea. We're going to talk about it right now. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Oh, Billy Bob, the great Australian dream, building your home on a block of land,
It,
building your dream.
it really is. But I don't know if it's as dreamy, the process is as dreamy as people remember it to be. Everything I hear is stressful.
Yeah, and look, I think it's attractive. You know, the floor plan you want, the color scheme that you want, the there's the potential for big profits. You know, when you do it as well. So when there's an element of risk there, like sometimes buying off the plan or building a house, there's often good profit behind it. So
Yep.
today, very quickly, we're going to unpack. Why? Because we've got some land packages available for people, and people are asking us a lot about it. Now, the great thing about talking with a real estate agent is we've got the experience of seeing people doing it before. So people may have a friend or family that's done it, one or two, but we've got
Yep.
hundreds of people that have done it, so we can report back on how they went.
Yeah, so true. There's a little property link there for you as well. If you want to just screenshot that, copy and paste it, go back to the property link. That's everything we're talking about today, and it's all local. I love local stuff. This is in Warriewood, right?
Okay. Thick, mate.
What's the three most common questions before people even get to the idea of how we're going to make this work?
How big is the block?
Okay. So these cases,
How much is it to build this house?
Yep.
What would it be worth?
Okay. And then, depending those three answers, then I guess they get interested or they put a line through it.
That's it. And I think it's got to people are quite traditionalists still, where they've got to sort of logically be able to get those answers and plug them into their spreadsheet of a brain and go, yeah, this is the real winner.
Yeah.
And something I find that particularly like these ones that we have in Warriewood, where it becomes attractive for people, is that there's this grey price range. Okay, let's just look at our area, for instance. There's this price range where you're getting a nice 2-bedroom unit, 3-bedroom unit for sort of 1.4 to 1.8. Then you've got houses starting at 2 million, 2.1 old. And there's sort of a $400,000 price band where there's almost no properties in there. What I love is something like this here, and you may find in any part of Sydney, you may find that when you finish your house, you're sitting in this price range that's super, super sought after, and there's not a lot of stock in that price range at all. That's when you're on a winner.
Yeah, right. Okay. So these guys are coming out of an apartment, 2 to 3 beds, often trying to transition into something bigger. But I think you're right. The number one thing stopping them at that point is they can't find the stock to begin with.
There's just a no man's land. And I think when you're coming out of a 2-bedroom unit and you've probably been there maybe 10 years, 5 years, probably 10 years, and you've probably paid off a little bit of the loan, and the equity's probably gone up. So you've got a fair chunk of money there, and you're thinking, oh, that's great, but I can't do anything with it. I can't go into that 2.1 price range. This is in the Northern Beaches in our area, for instance, but I can't get into that next price range because I've got this wad of cash, but it's too much of a stretch. Can't afford the repayments, can't get the loan. So land, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Build a house.
Tell us more then. If the apartment's, say, worth 1.5, round numbers, there might be a mortgage there of 500,000. So you're sitting on $1 million worth of equity. How do you build a house?
Were you there when we were modelling with the sales team the numbers the other day?
I was. I just thought it was so brilliant. The
Yep.
viewers should get a listen.
Okay, so look, I think the main thing here is I was modelling, and look, everyone watching is going to be different, but the principle stays the same, but the numbers may change. So, out west in Sydney, you may be able to build a house, buy a block of land for, I don't know, 1.2 to 1.4. Eastern
Yep.
suburbs may be more around 3 or 4 or 5 million. But I think the principles that we're going to talk about, or I know the principles we're going to talk about are the same. The modelling we're doing is the same. So forgive me on the numbers, but please listen closely on the structure. So what we spoke about the other day, we had a bit of a chin wag with all the sales reps because we've got some beautiful land. And what I said to the salespeople, I said, this isn't a real estate salesperson function that we're doing. This is almost like a mortgage broker function we're doing, where we can hold people's hand, explain, how the structure works, and then they take that to their accountant, and they take that to their mortgage broker and say, this is what I'm thinking you're doing, and this is how it goes. So when you buy a block of land, you're paying stamp duty on the block of land only. You're not paying, obviously, on the whole thing. And when that's right at the beginning, right at the end, we call that the gross, the GR, the gross realization, the gross value out of the property. So when you finish the built house, in this working example I'm going to give you, it's worth 2.5. Okay, as an example, that's where we think it should sit in the market given what's selling. Then you have the land sitting at 1.295. The next question you ask, well, how long will it take, and who am I going to build with? Now, we've got some great builders that we're working with at the moment. So anywhere you are in Sydney, Australia, wherever you are in Australia, you'll look at your builders. And what I would suggest to do is to use a larger quality, reputable building company. So GJ Gardner's been around a very, very long time. They've done a lot of stuff in Warriewood where we are. And then we've got these housing packages from these guys that, you can do a 1-level home for circa 600. You can do a 4-bed, 4-bath, almost 3 living room home for circa a bit over 700. So there's these, different styles of homes that you can design on these blocks. So you buy the land, you build the house, and when we were doing our modelling, it was coming in at less than 1.9 million. After you've bought the house and bought the land all built. Now, what I loved is when a place is worth 2.5, there's 500,000 or 600,000 potentially there of value if it's worth that when you're finished. But where we came undone as a sales team is with buyers. How do buyers actually get there? So they've got their unit potentially that's worth 1, 2, 1, 3. And then they've got maybe half of the equity in there, so they've got 600,000 or 700,000. How do they actually get, the finance and get it all happening?
That's right. Yeah, it's just transition, moving sort of those chess pieces around. Is what would be people's number one sort of worry then at that point? Is it trying to find a place to rent in the middle, or trying to find a place to move in with family or friends for that 6 to 12 months if they're building? What do you find the most sort of common hurdle is at that point?
In today's market, when buying land, I think people's hardest issue is cash flow. They know when they're in the house, they can clearly afford it. They know the numbers look really good, but how do they cash flow it from when they move out of their unit where they are to when they move into their house, the cash to pay the mortgage? And also the even bigger thing would be, how do they get the loan? What do they say to the bank? How do they structure that?
Yeah, right. And in this case, three blocks we've got for sale with Meriton. So you found clients in the past have used that to their benefit because they're not having to go direct to the bank. If they can partner with Meriton, they're actually getting a pretty attractive rate for 2 years.
Yeah, I like Meriton. Some of the land we sell on behalf of Meriton, they'll fund it at 3.75% fixed rate for 2 years, which is
Yeah.
nice for the land because you can go, okay, I'm going to use the cash out of my unit to build the house, and I'm going to use Meriton to fund the land. Pretty attractive, when you're doing something like that. I think we modelled the repayments at 45,000 a year for the land.
Yeah.
So you've got that there, but yeah, I think it's a funding exercise. You've got to be super. And look, I think sometimes if you're not that acumen with, you can't get your head around the numbers, and you've got the money, you've got the job, you've got the cash, you still won't do this land thing because it just bamboozles you.
Spins you out. Yeah. Yeah. But there's been some really
What
good
else,
success
Bill?
stories over the years. It's exciting. Local stuff.
Oh, we sold 30 blocks of land in Bubalo Street in Warriewood. We had clients, even friends and family buy in there. It was an amazing story because people coming through were saying, the block of land's not that big. I'm used to like 700 meters squared, and these are under 300 meters squared. We had
Yeah.
we had bold people purchase, go, you know what? We can still see that it's better than a townhouse. And it's
Yeah.
big. It's a spacious property. I've got my second and third living room. I've got my ensuite bathroom. I've got 4 bedrooms. This is still a good buy. Those guys that bought there, oh my god! After they finished building, and they moved in, but when we were selling them, it was it 2016, 18 around there? No, probably 18. The year later, the people had moved in, and the years later they'd moved in, their property values doubled. So what they were thinking, oh look, the land plus the house, we should be in at about 1.5, 1.4.
Yeah.
And straight away since they moved in, they built for a little bit cheaper, and their property values were well over two. So those guys made a fortune. I've only seen really good examples out of it.
And the key takeaway is maybe bigger is better, not your real bespoke builders. Could be a bit more expensive.
Yeah, I wouldn't get caught up in. I think it's a bit like a car when you go to buy the base model and you end up buying the top of the range. Like, the idea. I built a house in Narraweena, and Lisa and I made a promise before we went into the showroom that anything that was not base we wouldn't buy, and it worked. So we bought basically the base of everything, but chose
Yeah.
funky colours and finishes and stuff like that, and it was base, all of that stuff, and it actually came out really good. But when you start adding up, you can add 50% to your build cost.
Yeah, just in the little tweaks. There you go. That's a good little episode.
Yeah. Thank you,
More
everyone. I hope we
info.
helped you with land packages, house and land packages, building a house, spec homes. Go get it. Go do it. Make some money.
See you later.
See you, man.
Have a good
Bye.
day.
Have a good day, man.